If you've been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons for a while, then you probably realize that Nintendo is not afraid to remove certain islands. For example, you might remember back in 2020 when dream addresses were first added to the game, many players had hacked items on their island, for example the now infamous star trees, which were really popular at the time. Other players, however, flagged up these islands via the report form and Nintendo took them down, even leading them to create a new patch to remove star trees from the game entirely. This really set the precedent that Nintendo was not okay with certain islands, and if they did break the rules and they were to be reported by another player, they would likely get removed. And believe it or not, even in 2022 when updates have officially stopped for the game, islands can still get removed from the database. Recently, one of my channel members said they got an email from Nintendo showing that their island had actually been taken down. This wasn't for game modification though, this was for the reason that apparently they were promoting something within their island, so there's lots of different rules that players can potentially break that Nintendo will remove their island for. Here, you can see all the reasons that allow players to report a dream address, and these are the rules that Nintendo seem to follow. Back in 2020, players' islands were getting reported left, right and center for a various amount of reasons, some that weren't even breaking the rules at all, as it was pretty easy to abuse this report form, something that Nintendo didn't seemingly think about too much when they added it in. The good news is, in 2022, it does seem like Nintendo is more careful about what islands they actually decide to remove. It's pretty rare to see an island removed from the game these days, and that makes a lot of sense given the fact that they have basically stopped paying attention to Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the fact that they patched out a lot of these exploits that players were using back in 2020. But that's not to say that hacked islands are safe in 2022, Nintendo definitely won't hesitate to remove them. Now personally, I really enjoy seeing the creativity of players in this regard, and I thought star trees were honestly really cool. In fact, Nintendo should have taken the hint and actually added them officially to the game. It would have been really easy for them to do. But on the flip side, Nintendo does have the right to remove content that violates the game's terms of service. However, it does feel strange that Nintendo would seemingly remove one of my channel members' islands for promoting something, when there are so many brands that have used Animal Crossing New Horizons to promote their products in-game, something that apparently isn't allowed but Nintendo still kinda lets pass by. Don't get me wrong, I think some of these brand islands are honestly pretty funny and kinda creative, but it does feel like a shame if there's one rule for some and another rule for others. As far as I'm aware, it's pretty rare for Nintendo to actually remove an island from the player's Switch itself and ban their account. That is something that I definitely don't see happen too often, though I do feel like it has happened a few times in the history of Animal Crossing New Horizons. A lot of the time, this can come down to how much exposure a certain island has. For example, if a player has modified their island and then they decide to show it off online, it is definitely possible that Nintendo will notice and decide to remove it. This also does sort of pose the question as to whether treasure islands would be safe from getting removed by Nintendo. Undoubtedly, Nintendo does know about these treasure islands. They've been a huge part of the game since 2020. And honestly, I don't think Nintendo would really take the time and the effort to remove all of these, as there are literally thousands. Not to mention, from Nintendo's point of view, it seems pretty hard to tell whether these islands have actually been modified or not, as people could generally just get these items themselves and fill up their islands with them. Yes, it would be really difficult to do, but the game's been out for over 2 years, so people could definitely do that. Whether you're a fan of treasure islands or not, there's no denying that a lot of players really love them, and they've made them a big part of their Animal Crossing experience. But let me know in the comments section down below what you think. Have you ever used treasure islands in Animal Crossing New Horizons? Has your island or a friend's island been removed? Were you around for the Star Trees debacle? Definitely let me know your thoughts down below. If you made it to the end, then be sure to comment Bob's Gang. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more Animal Crossing videos. I want to say thank you to these channel members for supporting me and the content that I make here. Their contributions allow me to keep making videos. If you want to support these videos and get some great perks for doing so, like access to our members only Discord, exclusive Bob emojis and much more, then click the join button down below the video or the link in the description.